MPP for akotwa eja ato eye Yoko.
It's not part of it, so what is happening? It's not part of it, so what is happening? It's not part of it, so what is happening?
So Makacha Ghana Police Service, I have told the military this is what they want to do tonight. That is the meeting. Nana B no Timbi. General Secretary, JFK no Timbi. Timbi. They want to cause chaos in the country. And I do around 12 to 1. The Molotov cocktail. The petrol ebegu bottles. The petrol gu bottles mua. Na the the materials ana entuma asha no mo twaja atum no matoato yuko. So the police, we need a lot of reinforcement. Obi osa area obi ankoda. The Ghana military, the Ghana police, make sure every single person around Yoku Akoda, nobody should be around there. Chairman want to be Onyabu. He needs to sleep in there. He needs to be in there because Imrano, Omo the right to say, you need to be detained. Chairman want to be Yoko can process him for court. It will be to be say by force or someday Imrani Shamonsa. I am telling the Ghana military, I am telling the Ghana police service, the IGP, the CDS, me say the MPP went for a meeting. They want to burn down Yoko tonight and say enyo moi. They will first come on all the platforms and tell you said they apologize. The people who did that, they don't know where they are from. They are lying. And I agree on TV, so on release this statement. On catch Ghana for say they don't know anything about what is happening. In fact, they have told all their members to go home. They are lying. Every single action on taken, they have confirmed or sanctioned the attack. And agree they will attack Yoko. So the Ghana Police Service, the military, you should be on standby and clock. The military and the police, be on standby. Be on standby. Omo boys from the Blue Army. They are preparing them to come and destroy Yoko. Ombe tuja, omega se nyomwa. Media makano crash them. Now, momenye ejumebu aha. Yejinem now. Mukai sa papa way. This is the beginning of their chaos. Nanado danko ekufuado kumi prekum.
Clearest possible way, the widespread dissatisfaction in this country with their economic policies. Most of the people on this march, 90% of them don't have jobs. As far as we're concerned, that's the issue. Jobs and bread for the people of Ghana. And we think it is time that the government began to fashion policies that address the needs of the people of this country. And that's what we want to do. And we're doing so by a very successful, peaceful demonstration that shows the
yeah. Only so nyansa ekufuado no. No tan. Nanado danko ekufuado kumi preku wo nsama na oka. Na nkwasi afodu gu ekire. We do tibrofo onim nyansa yanya the president. We ena mbema papa ni Goliath. Akwade ati asom so ye Goliath. We what ekufuado na no ne wisra no set trap musango tie di biem. Kumi preku nkwasi akeka na bi nie. Ya kambo yetumufo abonte omosa de eyeba omia ene Kennedy Japan moba abodafo gwa.
Clearest possible way, the widespread dissatisfaction in this country with their economic policies. Most of the people on this march, 90% of them don't have jobs. As far as we're concerned, that's the issue. Jobs and bread for the people of Ghana. And we think it is time that the government began to fashion policies that address the needs of the people of this country. And that's what we want to do. And we're doing so by a very successful, peaceful demonstration that shows the
I saw a gala. And it's about people and the Ghana and the satisfaction and the demonstration of what in Kwasam of what in Obwa. And I know that because MPP forum don't go school. Send your child, take your girl child to school. Mama Fanny Kosiku and Mama Kwa we anyway, or better damn, obey 8 years. We know we didn't cheat. Hey, way, or just space echo, or the Nyanson, and the brilliant saying, and the people I'm telling you, and the demonstration, and the hey, and like a crank, I go very much time my mano. What do I am? On no call, almost had your qua way back. Where's no best of the neighbor?
But problem man, ewo ya MPP vote because social MPP vote no, we had a decline in our vote, about 4 by 2.1 million relative to 2020. It is about 2.1 million Ankotuaba. Now, Osha John Mahama Odi Kune with 1.7 million votes. 1.7 million. Echirese ankaya nipa 2.1 million no. Anka omobatu babatu abano amaya ankaya di kuni easy hands down. Easy hands down. So election no, and NDC no win election no. Yeah, MPP na yeah lose election because ankaya nipa ya sorry betu abano maya. Aka yebedi but osha data no musua na we say dudua omwantu abano na omo 6 regions in Ghana. 6 regions no accounting for 84% of the 2.1 million. Omwantu abano. Greater Accra region 571,000 Ankoto. Almost every constituency in the country, Nasana here, Nipa Mkotuaba, from Axim to Zebila, the whole country, Nipa Mtuaba. All the police station executives who run Nipa Fee said, Omonkotuaba, Omosi, Samonamoko TV, no, Monamoko Fridge, Omonkotuaba. And yes, I'm here. By 1 p.m., many police stations no now and we are empty. We
see the kind of analogy. One, we try to say 1.7 million difference, 1.8200,000. 1.8 million. You ever know Tunchain? But Omias Mokacha MPP for say Abane Ekotu yeno nipa 2.1 million na eyo omunkofo no omunyina na omada. He knows for a fact to say sa nipa 2.1 million no omunyina ya MPP for osan kobotuma MPP ono onim data ne ka kire no. Inti nipa 1.8 no mutuma Mahama no senka omu 2.1 million beto ya nka John Mahama when win election no kwasi afode ti obobu nsem. Street economics ni bi o. Ai ton tomatoes me ansa de den ya obenya 2 series. Sa economics ni bi na all the politics no. Na muti wo baba o me abeka kire wo say nipa 2.1 million and twaba. Sa 2.1 omu nyina ya MPP4. Ba ku poni wo beto eti MPP. Na mutete wo mu bom nsem data bank mu ejibi. She story bi ode momo. She kind of analysis bi ode momo. Inti technically yen lusu aba no yen nkofo nkwa inti na NDC for so o hwe mu data mu a omnipa 1.8 so ama ameto aba wo. Ana because o hwe de ekona NDC for so nipa be 1.8 million omo so ma abontina ameto aba. Inti se ade yekoche 2.1 no ya omu NDC 1.8 and also 1.8 na ka say there's no way you make sense. Because you are telling the people say NDC and we need election, it is because we won't call for a pay. NDC for some to catch us almost when you call for you na beto abano. Into no so on call for 3 million be omote ho. Almost no na omu adikudient meto because omu say NDC be winning. So they felt to say oh, the power is already gone. NDC be winning. Into almost one twaba. Have you considered those people? Into ba omi abeso catch people for say obi a one twaba organ be MPP ni. Na nkwasi afone to obo mu nsem. Message when our neighbor power. We'll lose election by 1.8 million gap. This is your explanation. This is what you want us to look at and say 2028 Yamamedi president. Pele. Makacho say Bawumia is a liar. Hey, onim economics biawo. Bawumia onim say MPP for nko school. Majority of MPP for 90% omunko school munimuma. They cannot read, understand, and use their common sense. Yeah? There is school and there's common sense. MPP for Nangasano, because of politics and tribalism, they have decided not to use the common sense. They are always using a friend of party sense. Into their party, how can you lose elections with 1.8 million gap? Ebin Sida. 2016, Mokasana Danekufuado LED with 900,000. John Mahama aba back aba double number 9 1.8 million. Where the flag bearer almost 8 years. Where the vice president 8 years, 16 years. You can the longest serving a politician when you power Ghana a 16 years. In the NPP, you probably when you privileged to enjoy a autocracy or then one Asha party so for 16 years. It is you. 16 good years. You have been the leader of the NPP. 16 years. You are still telling them, say, oh, the abysmal performance they been seen. Majority of the people who voted for Kufuor in 2016 voted for him because of you. So be able to Kufuor onim nyansa. Without due respect to Rastafari onim and I say omo onim and you be onim nyansa. But no be able to say Kufuor or a drug addict. No be able to say Kufuor does not have the knowledge to rule. And internal message from 2012 to 2016 was that Bawumia is the economic wizard. He knows economics. On him how to situate the economy. In 2012 to 2016, from 2012 to 2016, Ghanaians didn't care about who speaks the best English. Ghanaians thought that we were going to get a leader who could change the economic fortunes of the nation. So all the symposium and lectures you were given, people believed, say, oh, was some magic touch, be the president, the dollar will stay at 3.8. We gave power to you for 8 years. Where Jimmy Kurado keep the dollar at 3.8. We gave power to you. You, the same person, told us to say you introduced 33 policies in the history of Ghana. Politicians be introduced here. What did we get out of 33 policies? And then the cathedral, and then the GDP in the roofs over 100%. And then the Galamsey, and then the Bank of Ghana running into losses. And then the inflation hitting 57 over. You are not capable of doing this job. You are daft. And the MPP, the better they tell you, and the earlier they tell you, the better for them as a political party. You are empty. You are flat. You are only lying to the base who are not smart. The ignorant base who are just committed to party and have refused to use their common sense. There's a difference between common sense and book knowledge and as a party sense. Majority of the people following Bawumiano, they are following a party sense. They have left the common sense behind. Why are you doing this to yourself? Why are you basically making Ghana for say you are not intelligent enough to lead? What kind of analogy and analysis is this? How can you sit and say 2.1 million people o man to abanyina o Ghana no omo MPP for and the NDC for about munya no omo call for be 1.2 so anto abawo into omo nyina so be to about 2028. What will you tell the people? It means you don't have any message. It means you are lying to them. It means your failure, no, you don't know what to do to explain to them. You are flat. You are flat. And when I say you are flat, you don't have oxygen in your head to think about something better to tell the people. You are flat. Now look at this. This story is a very important story. Here will be story day. And John Dramani Mahama, the president of the Republic, about 10 o'clock exactly in Ghana. On YouTube, we are doing 12,556. On Facebook, we are blowing the numbers. On radio, we are all over the place. On TV, we are doing over 4.2 million eyeballs. We control the numbers because the facts. Now, John Mahama, the president of the Republic of Ghana, say we have significantly reduced our debt by 150 billion over the last 5 months. Into last time we explained it, and John Mahama kasa PZ for muntie brofo na waka no. O say, bosumi enum ya omobedi Ghana enim no, eka na eda ho, eka botche a Ekufuado ne ba omiam boto wo, Canada Japan mo je contract edi sika gu mu a, eka ebeda ekom no. Bosumi enum pe John Mahama say on emphatically or say now by no automatic Ghana eka eda ekom no, omate so 150 billion. When you say now the take so the only way automatic us no say ubetimi ama uksidi no emu aye den no ho aye den now Bank of Ghana no when you be friend reserves and to be gold reserve and also dollar reserve. Recently we were told to say you were about 10.6 billion reserves egu Bank of Ghana. Now the economy is doing well, so a kabia ne a day in dollar, which $1 is equal to 17 cedis then no. Today a kabia ya dibiano because of our currency is strong no. Sa e kana na e strong in dollar no and what then perform into right now near the 10 Ghana. and now $10 5 months ago and the $10 biom we is $10 and first no kabenya ebia 170 Ghana and we is $10 now unya 170 Ghana, meaning a kana ye de no sa e kana ba form into the way the city is appreciating na ye tumi e save sika. And neither John Mahama catch him say city to me appreciate it and I say it stays where it is. Now say it to me consistent. Now you to me a very smooth sailor. It means so 5 months biana say dollar ni jina be 10.35 kra. It means the next 5 months no sa 150 billion no, we will drop again into your benya your debt so be 300 billion cedis. That is how you build a nation. So you try to get a lot of reserves, and then when you get a lot of reserves, we take na $1 na dollar na we tia eya wo ka no dollar na ho den ba form no na we sika no 8 me tia more. Into right now no first link you one city bia say you rekwa kotua ye car na ye tua de eya ye $1 bia say kotua car na ye tua eya de 17 Ghana cedis. And ye $1 say kotua car na say ye cedi a ye be yi eya 10 cedis ye de kotua $1. First na ye 17 cedis na de tua $1 car. Intia di obika $1 ewo UK. Ghana di obika $1 ewo US. Sa abani kotia na abano eyi Ghana 170 Ghana 170 and 17 Ghana cedis bia no de tua $1. And I kufu ado ne baumia. Na ye 17 Ghana cedis bia ne de tua $1. Remember, sa 17 Ghana cedis no interest that so. So technically, we are paying about 19 to 20 Ghana cedis for $1. And John Mahama mobile bemuno 5 months and we a 10 Ghana a $1, meaning sa 7 cedis na dasuna echo almost 9 cedis no. John Mahama the 5 months we year through. That is how yenya 150 billion a year a car yetumiako. If it runs like this consistently, it means in a matter of a year or two, and I said before we exit the IMF program, no, now yetumi I exceed the expectations of the IMF, and this is basic economics and basic governance. Anytime we catch Ghana for say, you don't have to move away from what this government is doing. We need to support it. They are going to make mistakes, of course. This is a big government. There are thousands of people about together to form a government. We have agencies, we have deputy CEOs, we have people who Mahama did not even appoint, who are going to be appointed by somebody who was appointed by Mahama. And so one way or the other, somebody is going to make a mistake. So mistakes are bound to happen. But mistakes that are bound to happen. Is the government still focused? Is the eye still on the ball? The okasa obey no or yeah dollar no wama anwadena konform or create nyuma or yeah kwine abani dino kure. Those are the bigger pictures you look at. It's not the small mistakes the government makes. Into no big general guy say, oh, Ablakwa kwa assembly into unresigner with Jimmy. We are looking at the job of Ablakwa. A Juma ben or yeah impact ben a Ghana Funya. So impact na Ghana for nyana so Chinese mistakes then we will stick with our black to make sure say the Ghana for nyano and no yensaka finito. Into John Mahama aya economics no any governance no easy for you Ghanaians. We have to help him to help us, and the only way we can help him to help us is to make sure we believe in this government and believe in him. We have to believe in this government and believe in John Mahama, the policies. That is the only way that the NDC can bring back the Ghana we want. Right now, the resetting is on, and we are seeing the effect. We are seeing a positive effect. We should not kid with ourselves. This is the new Ghana. Every single businessman is refreshed. Obia enya confidence. Everybody is now open for business. People are confident today to put their money in the banks. Obi to kwaya kofanyoma ewo Japan about onsro because onso about kwane be dollar no kwa eswat more. So so nti kwa be jina. That is what we call confidence in the system. Business confidence. Sanya feno confidence. And John Mahama the confidence naba inti ejuma investors, businessmen, entrepreneurs, they have confidence in the system. They can pump more money into the banks. The more investors sika to bank, the central bank, that is the Bank of Ghana, and the commercial bank, they also get money to run other businesses because the banks don't have money sitting there. It is businesses na sika beto bank na banks they ejuma. So businesses now as a businessman need confidence or bank anymore. What they do is sometimes they convert their money into something else. Sometimes they can buy gold and ship it out, or they can just transfer their money to outside the country. Now, so when you say confidence now, what they do is they stay with their money in the country. And what they do is they invest in our country and then they put the money in the banks in our country. That is how the banks also make interest. Right now, interest rate, the Bank of Ghana are dropping it from 30 to 28. Meaning say as time goes on the interest rate okwajibisia edasono sa interest in the form it will also create room for businessmen to be able to borrow more, because the more we borrow from government the more the government makes money. The government makes money from the interest that we at the end of the day when we borrow money from them. So it is basically we intertwining, we all working together as a nation. We need to start building that confidence. And John Mahama in 5 months, why adia 8 years, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, any Bawumiani MPP could not do. It's going to be tough along the way, but we need to stick to the basics. We need to believe. We need to understand, say, this government has some good heart for us. And that is why today businesses are flourishing. That's why today we are all happy as a nation. Now look at the story. So our story was a very, very important story. And it's a story, it's about the ECG, Energy Ministry. And there may be some questions to be. Team, stay with me. You may be some simple questions. Okay, so thank you very much, team. My team nom information be breme. And they are sorry and MPP for any agi ye gidigidibi. Gidigidi nyina saying almost say oh ECG containers na you say na ayira no and they say container no omahu. Now remember, a committee was put together to investigate the ECG containers. Now, the containers as we speak, from what we are hearing from the Ministry of Energy, and I said the Minister of Energy through their spokesperson, the initial number from the transition team was 3,000. The number put out by ECG was 2,500. And that is why these investigations are ongoing. Now, to retrieve all containers in the system, so far we have traced 2,637 containers. Now, you get a transition team, time NDC Eba Power, no. MPP for no share energy and ECG so no omone NDC for tenasika say eye containers are away in sema ye de mamuni 3,000 into stadia or say the initial number MPP for catch NDC for na 3,000. Now NDC for power no mu say no do 3,000 2,500 containers. Now the minister has set up a committee. When the minister set up the committee did the report to Baba catch minister and say the containers, we cannot find some. Now, we cannot find some means it could be anywhere that we should be able to trace. Now, when you open investigations into stuff like that, you expect to say the containers, baby, ewobiano, you find where the containers are. The containers, it does not have to leave the port to be stolen. So containers bedroom port where somebody deliberately. There are so many agencies and now port services are you keep containers. Somebody can deliberately, Mr. S, get me the video. Did you get me the big video? What the MPP were doing was simple. How many containers in the bedroom? Ebia 7,000 or 10,000 or 2,000 containers for ECG. So a bedroom one place. What they do is they pick the containers and they spread it across the port. Now what they do is say 2,000 containers. 200 around the it is at the port. 150 around the now their respective MPP for now they want to dupe us, because they cannot lift the containers one time from one holding place, they spread the containers around the port. But on the system, it will tell you that the containers are at the port. What will happen is when they split the containers like that, but it is all part of the 1,000 containers that came. Now the container 200 containers ama company C. Ninya report wo. Number feature number ko 10 wo. In this 10 containers, 10 companies and a host 1,000 containers. They decide to take 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here. Ubonsa oba corner so nyina short 10. But on paper no, ECG has 1,000 containers at the port. So Udru port where you will see say the ECG containers are all 1,000, but when you count, you will not see the 1,000 containers. But on paper, you will see say there are 1,000 containers at the port. And Nitina Dubik Mahama or Betina join you so Mubusa and say, where are the containers? Now all catch Ghana for say the containers are at the port. He knew say the containers had been lifted, they have been spread at the port. They have their own people that manage all these things. Until Dubik Mahama was insisting, say, containers now munguno, it has not been stolen. The containers are at the port. Meaning, on what they do. Now, you see, when they bring the containers, one ship in a deba. Now, the moment you make one ship and now one agency, pick containers to one place, it will be difficult for you to go in and take 200 or take 300. So what the ECG were doing, Dubik Mahama Mo and say, Omo obey 4, 5, 6 agencies. Almost oh, when you know a shipping company say airport ha, this one have space into you 200 ekipia. Where more space, you 200 ekipia. In this 5 companies are no be 200. On paper, ECG has 1,000 containers at the port. Now later no, now Omankasa afeche, sa company you 200 mako you 10 frame. No masa ako you 10 frame. Until by the time you check no, not 200 no, not 10 free, so 100 containers gone. But who was up Dubika? Wakacho say we have all the containers at the port. It is not missing. That is the investigation. Akoswa and the Emma committee na chief of staff, the national security, any omo kanika police omo discover. Now the most interesting thing here no is simple. Mr. P, Mr. S, can you get me the Dubik Mahama video? Na minche Ghana for BB. That is why he was insisting. He was insisting during his interview. What Joy News catch Ghana for say, oh, the containers are at the port. Go to the port, you will see the containers. But he could not specifically tell you the container is kept here or the container is kept here. So you can see clearly say they knew what they were doing. They had a plan. And the plan was that they wanted to confuse you Ghanaians. Because oh, containers no ho, but at the end of the day, containers in your coin you now I mentioned the AC. On say report in the buyer. The report said investigations were supposed to be conducted. Now I want to ask the Attorney General a simple question. Tell my committee near report no. Say the board, which was led by Afenyo Markin, this is the board. Women are not on more board of ECG. The leadership of the MPP now, no, no board so time and MPP or power. Now, time a committee near report no, report mu say, ECG board no, including the MD no, they basically said containers the 1 billion and the Accra containers edeba. Now, sir, also with the 1 billion at the containers seba. How did you end up spending 8 billion? That is the question majority of Ghanaians were asking. Now investigations now, Attorney General mo any Ghana national security you know. The Attorney General needs to be asking the question. Then ECG board and the NPP Eka say almost spending 1 billion to go buy equipment for ECG, but at the end of the day spent 8 billion. Now something has happened. I want to ask the Attorney General, why is he? Because I sure this is the evidence. In the report, and this is what they showed us. Now, she reporting here the finding of procurement, the equipment are ECG procure under Afenyo Markin under another pre. Now, so check a report now. You see down there, 2024. A honey the red line afano. Almost say year 2024 value of planned procurement 2024 answer on mefra ban mu no omo say the 1.3 billion equipment ama ECG. Now omo ND at the end of the day omo procure nyoma 8.3 billion. Now this was the part of the reason why the energy minister Eka say investigations should be opened into ECG. It wasn't just about the missing containers. It was about the leadership at ECG. How they arrived at 8 billion. Abra na almost say procurement plans no na 1.3 billion. There was a difference of 6.8 billion. How did we get to 6.8 billion? So the energy minister was asking, Sanyama we kaunama John Abujinapo a committee to look into the matters. Now, who was the board chair of this ECG? The board in 2024, it was Afenyo Markin. Another umbrella was there. And the other guy leading parliament. These were the people who were leading ECG board. Habib Idrisu, right now, or a deputy minority whip, chief whip. Another umbrella or a minority chief whip. And Afenyo Markin or a minority leader. These were the 3 people who were handling ECG. And how did we say we have planned procurement which is 1.3 billion in 2024? How did we end up paying 8.3 billion? What caused the 8 billion? Now the question I'm asking the Attorney General is simple. Attorney General, let me play a Dubik Mahama video in intro. Then I'll ask the Attorney General some simple questions. And it's an Dubik Mahama. Ghana for Buta and say, where are the containers? Because you are the boss of ECG. Where are the containers? He insisted that the containers were at the port because they know what they do. Because that is their strategy of making money.
Let me reiterate this. A container cannot get missing. A container can only get misplaced or lost at sea. So there are laid down processes in every port worldwide. All I'm trying to say to you is that we need to have a diligent search, and everybody needs to assist in this. I haven't left this country. I am here. I want to assist because those containers contain critical materials that we need to intensify the network of ECG and also expand the work that the ECG is doing. To say almost it's not only an indictment. It's not only an indictment on ECG. There are 3 state institutions involved here. Let's not drop the ball at one doorstep and say, okay, this is where it sits and that is the end of it. No, not at all. If the containers had been delivered to ECG's warehouse, and then you find those same containers out there in the field, because yes, let me reiterate this. A container.
So you see, he was telling Ghanaians to say the containers are at the port. We need to do a serious search. Why was he saying that? He knew, say, containers no the bar. No much shada ankasa ediamo ankasa shipping companies or port war. Because Omeka just say, oh, one shipping company cannot take all the 2,000 into no mass split ya momo. Into omo chema omo companies na, then they go there, they will go and take 20. Into omo way 200, omo man ko 100, omo man ko 10. Obe check it not 10 3,000 containers ah. Ubo so obe checks no, na 3,000 no, 1,500. But on paper, no, ECG is keeping 3,000 containers at the port. 80 time not to joy catch him say, oh, the containers at the port, we should do a serious check. No, he knew that when we do serious search and check, we will find that any containers na can in an ira. Omo yibi, but be oho. But he could not tell us to say the container near my way, so keep it. Because the moment he does the pointing or he shows us specifically who are holding the containers at the port, we will know, say, those are the places they went to steal the containers. That is why they were quick to say, aha, when we say, MPP for your container, the containers are still lost. Now, investigations are still ongoing. I want to ask the Attorney General a question. Attorney General, this is a very simple, respectful question I'm asking you. Afenyomakin was the board of ECG. They told us we were going to procure a year equipment 1 billion. In 2024, they ended up procuring 8 billion. Why haven't you called Afenyomakin? Why haven't you called Afenyomakin to call him to interrogate him? Why haven't you called Anodompre, who used to be part of the board, to interrogate him? Why haven't you called Dubik? Why haven't you called these 3 people? I am asking the Attorney General a simple question. Why is Afenyomakin? Why hasn't he been called? Because if investigations have been opened, why haven't they been called? Because what I know, the Energy Ministry, they don't have the powers to prosecute or call people and investigate them. The Energy Ministry can tell you that they have found this, investigate it. Now, why is it said, Attorney General, Mr. Ayeni, you are not interested in calling Afenyomakin, who was the board chair when this issue happened? Because it was under his watch. And Omuka said, Omuko procure equipment worth 1 billion, but they ended up procuring 8 billion. So I'm asking you, Attorney General, why haven't you called Afenyomakin? Why haven't you called Anodompre? Why haven't you called Habib Idrisu? Why haven't you taken their statements? Why haven't you made them understand that their statement is needed in these investigations? Because you're very, very involved in this scam we are talking about. It is Afenyomakin, Anodompre, and Habib Idrisu. The reason why I'm asking this is we have intercepted a letter the Energy Minister, the ministry wrote to you that the investigations needs to be done. They don't have the powers to investigate. So, Mr. Ayeni, this is the letter. Let me read the letter to you. This is a letter the Energy Ministry wrote to the Attorney General. And my question to the Attorney General is, why have you not called Afenyomakin? Why have you not officially sent Afenyomakin to invited Afenyomakin to come for interrogation. Because as we speak today, Afenyomakin is the culprit here. Ordinary criminal, no? He was the board chair. Are you playing some games? Are you trying to favor some of your friends? Are you trying to cover up some things for some people? These are simple questions I'm asking. Because from the letter the Energy Ministry sent to you, it was clear. And this letter was sent on the 2nd of April, 2025. We are in May. Why haven't you called Afenyomakin, Attorney General? We are talking about 1.1 billion to 8 billion. Investigations are still ongoing. But from the 2nd of April to May, almost the end of May, you have not questioned Afenyomakin on this criminality. You have not questioned Anodompre on this criminality. You have not questioned Idrisu on this criminality. Why have you refused to call Afenyomakin? Because from my checks, you have not called Afenyomakin to interrogate him on this matter. This is the letter that was brought to you, Attorney General. Show us something. Tell us the reason. Because Professor Emil Kunfi, he was the board chair of GIF when the SkyTrain issue happened. You have been able to drag Akunfi to the courts. We want you to apply the same thing. Because Afenyomakin was the board chair of ECG, and investigations clearly shows that the board chair needs to answer questions. So what to be the Professor Emil Kunfi Abejina court, Senate or your board chair? Why are you refusing to bring Afenyomakin in? Why are you refusing to bring Anodompre in? Why are you refusing to bring Idris in? Are you hiding something from us? We want to know. Tell us the reason why the board chair Afenyomakin has not been invited, has not been interrogated. You people need to ask him serious questions, because the board, at the end of the day, they sanctioned for this to be done. Afenyomakin led the board to allow 8 billion to be spent. So Afenyomakin needs to come and answer questions. These are let me read the letter to you. Now, request for review of the report on the investigation into the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG's container held up at the Tema Port. And this letter was written to the Attorney General from the Ministry of Energy. You can see on the top, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Office of the Attorney General, and Ministry of Justice, Main Ministries Area, Accra. Now, I'm reading letter no entro. Letter and this letter was written from the Energy Ministry. Mr. John Jenapo, he wrote it to the Attorney General. Till date, the Attorney General has not taken any action on this matter. 8 billion. Procurement was supposed to be 1 billion. It turned out to be 8 billion, a difference of 6.3 billion. Afenyomakin is still working. You have not called him. Mr. Ayeni, what is the problem? What is happening? Are you playing some friendship game here? Are you trying to cover up for some people? These are simple questions I'm asking out of respect. This is what the letter says. It says, I refer to the attached report of the technical committee constituted by the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition to conduct investigations into the status of the estimated 2,500 containers of ECG at the Tema Port. Now, the finalization of the investigation of the committee revealed that 1,357 of these containers could not be accounted for, thus allegedly missing. Following the committee's report, when the committee did the investigations, they came to that realization that the board, instead of spending 1 billion to procure equipment or whatever for ECG, they ended up procuring 8 billion. So the containers, including the procurement process, is all part of the investigations. The container is one part of the investigations. Now we need to know the procurement part of the investigations. We want to know the committee report, the procurement part, which is the procurement part which moved from 1 billion to 8 billion. It is also part of the committee's report. Why are you not touching that one? Into really saying, following the committee's report, the ministry has requested the National Investigations Bureau to commence investigations into the missing containers and has also engaged the national security to secure the retrieved containers at the port pending the ongoing joint audits and investigations. Pursuant to the above, the ministry kindly request your outfit to conduct thorough. See the last sentence, another last paragraph. Or say, pursuant to the above, the ministry kindly. So pursuant to the above, the ministry is referring to the committee's report And whatever is in the report needs to be investigated. It's not just the container, it is about the procurement breaches. So, pursuant to the above, the ministry kindly requests your outfit to conduct a thorough review of the findings of the investigative report. The findings of the investigative report. It goes on to say this and advise the ministry on the approach on the appropriate legal action to be taken. I count on your usual support. Please accept the assurances of my highest consideration. John Abu Jinapo. And then he CC'd the Deputy Minister, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. Who did he CC again? He CC'd everybody. So I'm asking the Attorney General. Attorney General, the committee report, it has the container part to investigate, and it also has the procurement breaches part to investigate. Why haven't you called Afenyomakin? Why haven't you called Anodompre? Why haven't you called Idris? Why have you decided not to touch on the procurement breaches? Because from the document I'm showing Ghanaians now, the committee report clearly states here that in the year 2024, the government, MPP government, the ECG board, led by Afenyomakin, Anodompre, and the Idris guy, who are all parliamentarians with you in parliament, they said the value of planned procurement amuka somewhere in 2024 1 billion, 1.3 billion. That is the amount they said we're going to spend. They have done all their checks, they have added their shipping costs, they have checked all the prices of all the goods. They came to that conclusion, said Omobe cry nyoma 1.3 billion. Before they left power in December, they had procured 8.2 billion. Almost the 6.8 billion in the account. Attorney General, why are you not interested in calling the board chair to ask him, Afenyomakin, this is a criminal investigation, and you, as the board chair, you need to answer questions, because at the end of the day, wait to me the Professor Ekumfiako Jina court, because now you're board chair or gift. Then you should be able to call Afenyomakin in to answer questions. As simple as that. We are not done with this subject. I'll come back to you, Attorney General. You need to give us answers this week. If you have called people to investigate or interrogate them, tell us. Come and brief us. So far, the committee report, the procurement part, come and brief us. Don't hide anything from us. We want you to call the people involved. Afenyomakin was the board chair. I don't care whether he's your friend. I don't care your relationship with him. I don't care your relationship with Anodompre. What we are asking is the ECG board, led by Afenyomakin, Anodompre, Idris, they made sure the procurement issues, the procurement they did in 2024, they said they were going to spend 1.3 billion. They ended up spending 8.3 billion. Tell us, call them, ask them, why 8.3 billion? I'm going to come back to this matter, Attorney General. Respectfully, I want you to speak on this matter. You and your deputy, speak on this matter. I know investigations are still ongoing. Let us know how far with our investigations, who you have interviewed. Ghanaians will be happy to know that the board chair has been interviewed. Ghanaians will be happy to know that the deputy minority leader has been interviewed. And the minority leader, Afenyo, has been interviewed. This is a criminal case. This is not civil. This is criminal. I'll be back. Now,